People are praising Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, saying that this could be their best season yet. They could end up holding the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year.
Now, is it against the Eagles or the Lions? I don't know, but I think that's.
So Niners just fucking dead in the water, huh?
Yes, I have a problem with Jalen Hurts' placement on this. Yeah, he had a down season, but this is still a guy that's been all-pro. This is still a guy that's played lights out in a Super Bowl.
Others, however, are saying pump the brakes, not so much, pal. I don't think that the Eagles are there yet. I've heard it both ways.
Quite honestly, I was disappointed. I'm a great fan of Jalen Hurts and his ability, but I think one thing he's got to get better at is his leadership skills and ability to communicate his leadership skills.
What are your expectations for him next year as a player, and what would you like to see from him as a passer, as a rusher? Go ahead and just go off this list right here for some over-unders.
Last year, he had a kind of a decline in his stats. This is Jalen Hurts' team. This is Jalen Hurts' year. He has to be that leader in the locker room who takes charge when we're at our worst and at our best. I'm expecting that to be over 4,000 passing yards. We just signed Devontae Smith to another contract extension. We just gave A.J. Brown a lot of bread. The question is, who's that third receiver? We have probably the best receiving duo in the league. Now we go down to passing TDs. Again, we have the best duo in the league at receiving. We have one of the best tight ends. So for that 25 passing TDs, I'm expecting that to be over 25. 1,000 rushing yards, over, under. I probably going to go under because we just got Saquon Barkley. So we're going to save Jalen Hurts' legs. He's going to still run the ball, but not as much as he did last year. 8 rushing TDs. I'm going to go, depending on what play we use, if we're going to push, on the goal line, that's going to kind of probably increase. Hey, this is the one that kind of marks your name. It's one playoff win. I'm expecting that to be over one playoff win. We just had one of the worst end of our seasons last season with losing 6 in a row or 7 in a row. We have a better offensive coordinator. We have a better defensive coordinator. So I'm expecting him to have over one playoff win. I'm expecting to see the Eagles in the NFC Championship.
I want to start by saying the pressure isn't necessarily as much on Jalen Hurts as it is on Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore's job is not to be an offensive coordinator. His job is also to be a talent evaluator. Kellen Moore's job is going to be to go back to 2022. Last year, Jalen Hurts had more. If I told you guys Jalen Hurts had more passing yards last year than he did in 2022, the year that we went to the Super Bowl, a lot of people would tell me that I was crazy, but it's true. And he also had one more passing touchdown last year. So we're starting to see Jalen Hurts develop a little bit more as that Russell Wilson kind of player. When Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl, he wasn't the rusher that he was when he first came out of Wisconsin. When he first came in the NFL, he was that fantasy quarterback that Jalen Hurts is. Then he kind of matured. He didn't run as much. And it wasn't that running wasn't in his repertoire. It was that it was secondary for him. And I think that that's what it needs to become for Jalen Hurts. It needs to become an afterthought for him. He needs to develop primarily as a passer, a guy who can put the ball in A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, or Dallas Goedert's hand. And when that's not there, then he can run. But he needs to be able to do those things first. He needs to be able to develop. Kellen Moore, like I said, also needs to be able to develop as a play caller and look at film and see, okay, what works for all of these guys in this offense? Because this is like working with a very complex dish in the kitchen. You have all of these great ingredients, but you don't want to use too much of one thing or too little of it because it could throw off things drastically. It could throw off the whole taste. It could throw off the whole groove. It could throw off the whole chemistry. And that's what the Eagles need to be careful of. I heard the other day, Jack, this offense looks 95% different. I don't know if I like or hate that. I don't know.
People are expecting us to be Super Bowl bound, okay? We say that every year. I mean, I'm guilty of saying it myself. We have all the weapons we need to get to the mountaintop. At the same time, it's a matter of the chemistry we have with the offense side of the ball, the defense side of the ball, the coaches in the coaching room.
We saw there were a couple times last year where he's screaming in the huddle. He's getting, excited like that. But we want to see more of it off the field with the fans, stuff like that. So we'll see if he comes around to that. As far as play goes, I'm not concerned about any of his play. I'm not worried about any of it. I want to see Jalen Hurts develop more as a Russell Wilson kind of play. I want to see him progress along that same path. Where you come into the league, rushing is, your primary thing that you do. That's what you're good at. Your whole life you're doing it, so nobody's stopping you. But you develop other traits in the NFL to survive. He needs to be able to develop those other traits in the NFL to survive. I think this will be the season that he does put up that extra 150 yards. He goes over 4,000 passing yards. 25 passing touchdowns, I'm going to say let's go ahead and take it. I'm going to say over this year. Rushing yards, I'm going to unfortunately say under. I think he's going to be in that 550 to 750 threshold. He ain't playing for your fantasy team. He's playing for the fucking Philadelphia Eagles, so get that straight. Rushing touchdowns, 8. That's interesting. I think that's going to probably be moved up now to like 10 or 11 probably would be fair. I'm definitely going to say over 8. I would take 8 all day. And then I think he'll get 2 playoff wins. He'll make it to the Super Bowl again. I think that 2024 is the year of all Philadelphia sports. Kobe's looking down on us. 2024, 24. And I just have a weird feeling. 24 is a good number. It's a lucky number for me. It's a lucky number for a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people say that to me this year. So I just have a weird feeling about 2024.